Campers, it's me, Ari Lehman, the first Jason Voorhees. From Friday the 13th, I'm here with AJ, and he's got the juiciest slice ready for you. It's dripping with blood. Jason never dies.
When a horror film baddie, heavy, or rogue finally gets their just due, what factors make for a particularly stunning, impressive, or momentous destruction, even annihilation? Let's explore. If anything about this engages your interest, please like, subscribe, and share.
Yes.
Without further preamble.
Also in the news, another gruesome murder in Haddonfield today.
Guess Halloween isn't the only time it's in your best interest to avoid Haddonfield.
The body of a young woman was discovered buried in the bottom of a trash bin behind a shopping mall.
That tells us everything we need to know about how the killer feels about his victims. A pretty young woman approaching? Things are looking up.
Can I help you?
I'm Ann.
Okay.
Assuming nothing, Bill plays it cool.
The new girl?
Oh, yeah, right. Come on in.
There's a slick undertone to the attendant, but he's perfectly nice.
Well, why don't I give you the grand tour? That's cash register.
Straight to the point, he dispenses with business.
That's the credit card machine.
No sweat.
And listen, when you get their signatures, make sure you get the license plate number, all right?
Right.
It's important.
And make sure she's aware of everything she needs to know.
The cigarette prices are posted outside.
Saw it.
Okay, good.
Is that the bathroom?
Anne inquires about the employee restroom, and Bill shows his whimsy.
Well, actually, we prefer to call that the employees' lounge.
Yeah, great.
Seeing the size of the structure, it's certainly lovely.
Oh, you know what? This door locks automatically if you leave the booth, so,
Keys?
Right, keys, yeah.
The automatic locks can make a fool of anybody.
You know, I feel a little bit guilty leaving you out here all by yourself.
I'll be okay.
No, good. Something to ramp up the anxiety. A reminder of the lurking danger.
Did you hear the news tonight?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If you got a problem...
But Bill is a reassuring guy, and leaves on a positive note.
Why don't you, just give me a call, okay?
Hey, thank you.
In a junker car that went for about $50 at the time, Bill drives off into the night. From there, Anne is subject to the eclectic personalities that frequent an all-night service station. An occupational hazard, to be certain.
Yeah, I got some bourbon out in the car. I can get you to come out of that booth.
Apparently, between marriages, renowned horror director Wes Craven was a bit of a shameless flirt and had no trouble positioning himself as a bit of a red herring.
Maybe I'll see you around,
Not all the customers are weirdos looking for cheap, easy sex.
Hey, maybe if I run into you sometime, play a game of pool.
Some are charming enough to elicit a genuine smile.
I'm no good at pool.
All the better.
Between his good looks and decency, she might be a little smitten, causing an oversight.
You forgot the car! Hey!
And she locked herself out. Just the kind of happenstance you want to occur when there is a killer on the loose. The quintessential bum vagrant or what have you, appearing as if he manifested from the dust kicked up on the road itself.
I need the key to the restroom.
Anne's nerves get a good jolt, but she still does her best to accommodate.
The key's in the booth. I have to get the other set. Be right back.
To say she's untrusting of the grimy visitor would be an understatement. A good instinct in nearly every circumstance, she sure doesn't want to turn her back on him. Motivated to be quick, in her haste, she breaks glass.
son of a bitch then.
Well, that was interesting. Since Anne is herself wearing a uniform shirt displaying a name other than her own, it's probably not suspicious on the face of it that there's a whole other bill. Now able to give the vagabond the key, she reluctantly grants him access to the restroom. The way he openly mocks her as he walks away, mirroring her tension and trepidation, seems to indicate, at least in his own mind, he's no threat, and he's a little offended she thought he might be. Clearly uncomfortable with the situation, she maybe should have asked about the policy. The next customer needing a pit stop gets enlisted to survey the scene and report back.
Guy's sleeping in there. He's all curled up around the toilet. I had to stand back and aim over his head.
Anne decides to see for herself and finds no sleeping hobo, but instead a rather remarkable piece of art. She is thoroughly freaked out and makes a beeline for the filling station. Perhaps still peeved at her obvious judgment, is the transient screwing around with her? It would seem someone is trying to get her attention. Yeah, she's had enough, and smartly goes right to get help. Unable to raise anyone, she has to make a choice. Taking a weapon doesn't mitigate that it probably isn't the best decision, seeing as how she makes her way into the garage. Who doesn't love to be startled when already on edge? But it's what she discovers next that puts everything in perspective. Oofda, she's bowled right off her feet. Boy, if her heart wasn't hammering before. Practically taking flight, she races back to the phone. The killer appears. And since he's sporting a bloody machete, it's clear he's in a party mood. As it turns out, Bill, whom from here on will be referred to as Fake Bill, gave her the number to the garage.
Hi.
So he set her up real good, positioning her on a rug he could pull out from under her.
This is Bill. I can't come to the phone right now.
For him, all of this is fun-time frolics, psychologically torturing an innocent young woman for shits and giggles.
So maybe you could just leave a message. See, I got a sore throat.
Twisted nature on full display. He really plays it to the bone.
Be better if you could call back. If you want to leave a message.
Play acting an answering machine message with just the right lilt in his voice to make it apparent he's having her on.
Just wait for the beep. Beep.
This is very much a hoot for him. Some deranged foreplay before getting down to business. With his victim properly primed, it's time to make a more personal connection. He secures himself the sort of trusty tool that gives a man confidence. There's a wild determination to his gait, a craziness in his eyes, that speaks of sickening fantasies about to be fulfilled.
911. He's after me! He's after me! He's after me!
911 is kind of moot when a psycho is approaching in that inescapable manner that defines such sorts. Fake Bill deals with the protective glass in short order, while Anne seeks something useful. With the self-locking door and all, the little brick structure sure created the illusion of safety. The likelihood through the roof that she's going to become a statistic, she needs to shove the corpse of real Bill aside and figure out something good. Anne has terrific survivor IQ. That move was not only genius, but a stunner. Likely concussed, Fake Bill has been at least briefly relieved of his faculties. Anne takes the opportunity to step out, but turning her back might be a mistake. Perseverance isn't always enough. That well-placed shot scrambled Fake Bill's brains real good. He'll need to sit out the next round. No, wait, it doesn't work that way when in the commission of a murder. He needs to suck it up and get back to stalking his victim. If Anne has her way, she'll escape. It's with cold clarity that she decides proximity to a dead body doesn't bother her so much now. Fake Bill is a dynamic guy and thinks to use the setting to his advantage. Having trapped his quarry, Fake Bill is ready to close in for the kill. Anne is no wilting violet, but a little help can go a long way. The charmer reappears to save the day. But he's not prepared to deal with a truly violent aggressor. What happens next is kind of a hoisted by his own petard situation. He set up a good scare for Anne. Her startlement led to the can of oil spilling, and ergo, here he is. Anne doesn't dilly-dally, taking this chance to eliminate the threat once and for all. To make wine, some grapes need to be crushed. Juicy grapes. In this case, grapes soured by a victimizer, shattering the conception safety is anything other than an illusion. It's not a deus ex machina. One foreshadowing establishes possibility.
Forgot my credit card.
At least for the moment, the illusion of safety is restored, as Fake Bill breathes his last. What makes Fake Bill a compelling villain? Is it that his determination coupled with having a knowing face makes him scarier than a guy in a mask? That he can feign normalcy without missing a beat? That until he revealed himself, he put off no villainous vibe? It's all those elements. But what aspect do I think really made Fake Bill excel? Robert Carradine, the man who played him.
Yeah, you got it.
By the time body bags came down the pike, slasher killers were beyond de rigueur and could easily tread familiar territory that might accomplish some cheap scares, but didn't develop a very intriguing character beyond the norm. Here, Fake Bill achieves a higher level of sinister through being established as a seemingly normal guy who can turn on a dime and reveal he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Comparing him to Canaday might be inapt. Actually, there's almost a rodent quality to him, like he's a parasite nibbling on the edges of society. Right here, due to his physical bearing, he definitely looked a lot like a stunned rat. That Fake Bill drives an old beater. Might be an unmerited statement about how the poors can't be trusted, but I doubt it goes that deep. Not the sort of flick to wallow in social commentary. The closest it might come is showing how the outsider living on the fringe becomes society's scapegoat. The undesirable other easy to assume is up to no good.
I really have to go to the restroom.
Even though they were just looking for a decent enough place to sleep, and wound up with a slit throat for their trouble. Fake Bill ran quite a gambit, and in the end it cost him big. Due to the psychological damage that drove him, it seemed worth it to him, no matter what happened, even if that meant losing his life. He was clearly looking for his spring to be sprung, so to speak, at any cost.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
For a psycho looking for thrills, there's a lot of currency in giving someone a false sense of safety, only to erode it to nothing and watch their crisis grow into outright panic. Did Fake Bill draw that fine example of art in the men's room? Likely. The guy was joyfully malicious, a true sadist. Was he the Haddonfield serial killer alluded to in the news? Seems more than likely. No matter what, he was a purveyor of chaos. Although, the possibility exists that he was a closeted psycho that took advantage of a killer on the loose to relieve stress. No matter what his motivation, everything backfired on him because he let his need to terrorize to get in the way of the killing. It would seem Real Bill and the Transient were taken out post-haste. Why might that be? As men, they were merely inconvenient obstacles. Pretty blatant that as a sadosexual killer, Fake Bill's real objects of desire, the true targets of his warped nature, were attractive young women, ones like Anne. They were also his weakness, because he couldn't just satiate a need to kill. True fulfillment came from the cat and mouse games, from turning the screw, from maximizing her terror before he made his grand appearance. Where was Fake Bill cleverest? In how he mentioned important aspects of the job without revealing he had no real connection. You typically have to count your register. That's the only way to guarantee accountability. Just leaving an open unaccounted till? That would be extending way too much trust to a new employee. During that era, general honesty might have been the binding that held society together, but that would have been a step too far. Even if there were surveillance cameras, it wasn't like they offered a very clear picture, especially since the tapes were typically reused over and over. So, Anne could have cleaned out the register and vanished if she so chose. Not to mention, you typically have to clock in for jobs that are hourly, even if the store didn't have a clock-in, clock-out machine. No matter how unlikely there wasn't one somewhere on the premises, they would have probably required a time be written down.
You sure can bitch a song about nothing.
Whatever his ultimate plan was for Anne, we can and should assume it was bad. Unfortunately for him, she seized her chance. By his abhorrent actions, almost entirely indemnified from guilt, as there really couldn't be a clearer case of self-defense, even if it was gory and extreme. Extending the rodent metaphor, in the end, he clearly evoked the imagery of a crushed rat. This villain outro is outstanding for a number of reasons, from the delicious irony to the visceral brutality. But what's best about it is how fake Bill reacts to being pressed. Squished beyond survival, his death knell, those final twitches, represented everything he deserved, and was a creepy visual, suggesting his awareness went on long enough for the horror of it all to dawn on the man who made sport of others. No shortage of blood, the carnage was resolute, and a fantastic finale to what was ultimately more a homage to slashers than a genuine entry, a tongue-in-cheek foray undertaken by the very man in John Carpenter who created, at least popularized, the subgenre, by setting the template going forward. That makes it no less suspenseful and scary, though.
Some folks have a strange idea of entertainment.
I saw this quirky John Carpenter vehicle at the right age. I grew up on what had been a farm, so in a rural farmhouse, and occasionally a power outage would send us to a hotel for air conditioning and cable TV, neither of which we had at the time. In one such instance, what came on but Body Bags? A horror movie aficionado from my earliest memories. I didn't always get to watch them, but this was a case when my folks were on board, and my adolescent mind was enraptured. At the time, I had no idea what a horror and pop culture wet dream the whole film is, or that this sequence in particular had an interesting assortment of genre personalities. When I revisited Body Bags as an adult, I realized the horror director was the red herring.
What you eating?
It's for school.
A college girl, huh?
The werewolf was the hero.
I didn't mean to call him Meatloaf, Jack!
And the nerd was the killer. Not to mention Hollywood's go-to bum for decades, George Buck Flower.
Crazy drunk driver.
And renowned character actor Peter Jason.
You're a little glum tonight, hon. What's wrong? You ought to be out partying. Pretty little thing like you, huh?
Both members of Carpenter's repertory players were also in attendance. It's too bad that HBO had such a corner on the TV anthology market with Tales from the Crypt. So much so, the Showtime network bowed out of competing after ordering the episodes that were fashioned into the film Body Bags. The stories didn't break new ground, but they did understand the prerogative, and gave a lot of actors, including the truly terrific Robert Carradine, a chance to shine in small but relevant roles, while providing some good shocks and scares.
I guess that's about it.
Well, I've about reached the end of the rope, so I won't leave you dangling. Thanks for humoring my ramblings. Please share any refutations, opinions, accusations, japes, or other ideas in the comments below. And please join me for whatever I'm up to next time. Bye now!
Bye, creepy man! Keep it creepy!
He's a weird guy.
Goodbye!
That's it then. I'm out of here. Have a good night.
See you later.
You got it.
That's the juiciest slice. Yeah, not.